Welcome, folks, to tonight's broadcast between the NMC Comets and your McBain Ramblers. I'm here with Cade Weaver. Starting for the Ramblers, we have number 3, Brecken Gildy. Sophomore, number 5, Peyton Grant. Senior, number 12, Kate Crick. Junior, number 22, Shannon Maloney. And then junior number 23, Isabel Roosevelt. And the Ramblers are coached by Carl Dottie. Now for the NMC side. Just give it a second, guys. Senior, number 3, Emerson Tossie. Senior, number 4, Kylie Winkle. Junior, number 5, Maria DeRider. Senior, number 20, Jaden Moore. And junior number 24, Ellie Bennett. Cade, what do you expect to see tonight, sir?
Well, I can expect to see a lot, actually, here. I mean, between the two teams, their seasons are relatively close. They both have very good players on their teams. We got the Bennett, the sister of Ethan Bennett. Ethan Bennett's on the varsity team. He's a really good player. His sister is as well. And over on the McBain side, we have a very good combo between point guard and post. Isabel Roosevelt, very strong post for the McBain side. And then we have Brecken Gildy, a very strong pick setter for McBain that's helped in a lot of games. And Peyton Grant as our power forward, and what a power forward.
Yeah, number 24, Ellie Bennett, will be jumping along with number 23, Isabel Roosevelt.
50-50 chance here. We will see who will start off with the ball.
And it'll be McBain, Kate Crick with the jump, and it'll be over and back. For just a simple mistake there to start out the game, but not one you like to see.
Nope. Instead of McBain ball, it'll now be Comet ball starting off.
4 seconds in.
Yeah. Turnover that quick.
That's number 20, Van Nord, over to DeRider. DeRider dribbles in. Ball tipped by Shannon Maloney. Tries to get passed down to number 3, Tossie, but it'll be knocked out of Tossie's hands and will be ruled Rambler ball. Kate Crick into Grant, Grant to Crick, Crick to Grant. Grant up to the middle, splitting the double team. Starts to set up the play. Looks like Comets are running a 3-2 defense. Grant to Crick, Crick to Maloney, Maloney to Crick. Crick on the far side, passes to Peyton, Peyton dribbles to the near. Over to Roosevelt, Roosevelt to Brecken in the mid on the near side corner. Oh, up to Grant. Grant to Maloney, far side corner. Up to Grant, far side wing. Over to Crick, near side wing. To Roosevelt middle. Grant, pump fake, no shot. Over to Maloney. Maloney tries to tip down to Roosevelt, but it'll be hit by Bennett, and it'll go out of bounds, and it'll be Rambler ball into their own basket.
Right there, there's Bennett right there using her strong and long arms.
And that'll be a foul. I think that was Grant passes into Gildy wide open. In desperation, number 20, Van Nord, goes in to foul to prevent some easy points. But let's see if Brecken can't knock these down.
And it seems as so far, Comets are trying to come in strong with their defense, but unfortunately, after that play with Bennett, they tried to come in even stronger. It just ended up in a foul.
Yeah. Gildy misses her first. And misses her second, rebounded by Bennett. Ball is tipped out of bounds by Gildy, and it'll be NMC ball under their own basket. It'll be Winkle to Van Nord. Van Nord dribbling up the court. Ball tipped by Grant, and refs are little miscommunication. One thought it was Rambler ball. One thought it was Comet ball, but sticks with Comet ball. It'll be Winkle to Vinord. Vinord guarded by Grant. Vinord dribbles over, screen set by Winkle. Vinord with a 2-point jump shot, no good, rebounded by Maloney. Maloney to Grant. Grant will bring it up across half court, about the middle of the court. Over to Crick, far side, Roosevelt middle. Roosevelt corner to Maloney, over to Crick. Crick to Roosevelt, Roosevelt to Grant. Grant pump fake, no shot. Over to Maloney, far side corner. Maloney drives in, kicks, tries to kick down to Roosevelt. Somehow gets to Grant. Grant with a 3, no good. It'll be rebounded by no one, hit out of bounds by number 5 to Ryder, and it'll be Rambler ball under their own hoop. Grant passes into Gildy. Gildy with the easy 2, making up for those 2 missed free throws. It'll be to Ryder, passes into Vinord. Vinord taking her time, pressed by Grant. Vinord gets across half court, Vinord to the middle of the court. Over to DeRider near side. DeRider to Bennett. Bennett kicks down to Tossie. Tossie goes up with the easy 2. Grant up the court to Roosevelt. Roosevelt to Maloney. Maloney to Gildy. Gildy trying to get to the paint, no good. Gives it over to Maloney. Maloney to Crick. Crick to Grant. It'll be Maloney in the far corner. She will be pushed out of bounds by number 3. That is Emerson Tossie. Getting a little aggressive.
And once again, we come back to Comet's defense there. They're trying to put a statement here coming to their court. But unfortunately, when you put too strong of a statement, it could lead to fouls. And unfortunately, there's been a couple here so far.
Yeah. Crick to Gildy. Gildy to Crick. Crick to Grant. Grant over to Crick. Crick with a 3, and it is long. Rebounded by nobody, and I believe it'll be Rambler ball. And it is under their own hoop again. Grant over to Roosevelt. Roosevelt, hand off to Grant. Grant for corner 3, no good. Double dribbles it, and it'll be NMC ball. So far, pretty even games. Your score is 2-2 with 5 minutes 30 seconds left in the first. It'll be Winkle trying to get it into Vinord, tipped by Grant, and it'll be NMC ball on their own sideline. It'll be Vinord. Dribbles across half court, guarded by Grant, heavily guarded. Vinord over to Bennett. Bennett to Tossie, Tossie to Vinord. Vinord with a quick 3, and it'll be no good, rebounded by Gildy. Gildy picks up her dribble, gives it over to Grant. Grant brings it across half court. Over to Roosevelt, Roosevelt back to Grant. Grant over to Gildy, near corner. Up to Grant. Grant with deep 3, and that is good. It'll be Winkle into Vinord. Vinord brings it across half court, far side. Tipped out of bounds by Grant, and it'll be NMC ball, their sideline. It'll be Winkle passing it in, gives it down to Bennett, far corner. Over, tries to give it to Tossie, stolen by Maloney. Maloney gives it to Grant. Grant over, up half court, gives it over to Crick. Crick dribbles, picks it up, gives it over to Grant near side. Over to Maloney near side. Gildy corner near side. Over to Grant. Up to Crick. Over to Maloney. Maloney far side. Tips it over to Gildy far side. Over to Crick. Up top middle for Grant. It'll be kicked over to Crick again. Up to Grant. Grant over to Maloney. Maloney tries to get to Roosevelt. Recovered by Grant. Grant to Crick. Crick to Roosevelt. Roosevelt goes up with a shot. No foul called. It'll be rebounded by Grant. Grant over to Crick. Crick back to Grant. Over to Crick. Over to Maloney. Kicks to middle to Roosevelt. Roosevelt over to Grant. Grant with another 3, and it is no good. Rebounded by Roosevelt. Roosevelt goes up with a shot. No good. Rebounded by Crick. Tries to save it. Gives it to Tossie instead. Tossie gives it to Vinord. Vinord gets it across half court, about middle court. Dribbles, picks up her dribble, gives it over to Tossie down low, kind of miscommunication there. Stolen by Roosevelt. Roosevelt gives it to Grant, and it'll be a timeout. It'll be a full timeout here by Carl Dottie. What have you seen so far in this first quarter there, Cade?
Well, so far it's been pretty evenly matched up. I mean, both sides on defense just keeping on the other opponent. I mean, making sure nothing gets past them, but McBain had some leeway there. They couldn't get anything in the paint, so they reached out for Grant, who responded with a deep three, making the score 5-2. I mean, just an incredible deep three there.
Yeah, that was definitely a momentum change for the Ramblers. I've also seen a lot of physicality down low with the bigs and just even up top. NMC's changed their defense over a little bit. Each time it seems like there's something a little different to their defense. They're just trying to throw these McBain Ramblers off.
I agree. Every time once the other opponent's defense changes, offense can sometimes be tricky once you try going back to it because your opponents have changed. And we'll see if they do a heavy press here. I'm not sure if they will, but that would be kind of smart.
Yeah, especially for momentum changers.
Yep.
It'll be Grant to Crick. Crick down to Grant. Grant goes up with a shot, fouled by number 20. That'll be Van Nord.
Right there, you gotta be a little careful. Once you come in, them players, sometimes you'll just see them coming in like speed and missile. They're telling themselves, oh, I'm gonna grab this ball right out of their hands. Sometimes you don't want to think that because you'll end up running right into them and you'll be a little bit too late. Right there was a perfect example of that. You just gotta watch your timing and watch your feet and make sure you can stop when you need to.
Correct, and that is Van Nord's second of the game, and only in the first quarter. Peyton Grant splits the pair. Isabel Roosevelt rebounds. Goes up with a shot, rebounds her own rebound. Goes up with a shot, rebounds it again. It'll be jump ball called, and it'll be NMC ball.
Once again, Isabel Roosevelt down there in the paint just fighting. We've seen that all first quarter, and she continues to keep putting on that pressure.
Yeah, McBain heavy pressing. Stolen by Crick. Crick to Maloney. Maloney with a quick shot, and that is good. Heavy press again to Ryder, bringing up the ball. Maloney trapping her in the... Gives it over to Van Nord, middle court. Van Nord over to DeRuyter. DeRuyter. Ball is hit out of her hands by Maloney. She tries to save it, gives it over to Crick. Crick will go up with a shot and is fouled. Travel called first. Crick quick to get up though. It's a good sign. And it'll be NMC ball under their own basket, or Rambler basket. And Winkle passes into Van Nord. Van Nord guarded by Maloney. Van Nord goes all the way, dumps it to Bennett. Bennett tries to go up with the shot. Foul will be called. It'll be on number 22. That is Shannon Maloney. That'll be her first team first of the quarter.
Well, right there, once we've seen the heavy defense of McBain trying to stop NMC from getting down there, unfortunately, Shannon's foul there brings him to the free throw line. But so far, no points have been made again, keeping the score 8-2.
Very close game so far in this first quarter.
We'll see what, if NMC gets this last free throw here, it might be a big momentum change here.
Yeah, Bennett misses both, rebounded by Roosevelt. Roosevelt over to Grant. Grant looking down low, didn't see no one. Grant dribbling the ball, brings it near side, kicks it to Maloney near side, down to Roosevelt. Roosevelt working her post, kicks it up to Grant, gives it over to Gildy, far side block. Up to Crick. Crick drives, tries to kick it to Roosevelt. It'll be hit by a leg and then jumped on by Kylie Winkle and Kate Crick, and it'll be jump ball, and it'll be Rambler ball. It'll be Grant taking it out for the Ramblers. Grant down to Gildy, and Gildy with another two. Tossie hits off her head, gives it to Winkle. Winkle over to Van Nord. Van Nord down to Tossie. Tossie driving all the way. It'll be fouled by Isabel Roosevelt, going up with two. Yeah, first on Isabel's team, second. Nothing much she could have done there. I think personally there was a little bit of an illegal movement there where number 24 Bennett was boxing Isabel out before the shot went up, but the refs didn't see it, and the refs are closer to the floor than us.
They are. They definitely, there's a reason why they wear stripes. They can see a lot more than we can from up here. They know the correct call.
Very true. It'll be Tossie with her second free throw. She splits the pair. Roosevelt to Grant. Grant to Crick. It'll be Crick bringing up the ball, gets across half court over to Maloney. Far side wing, over to Grant, top. Grant thinking about pulling it, dribbles in. Screen by Roosevelt, or Grant to Roosevelt, Roosevelt to Gildy, Gildy to Crick. Crick over to Grant. It'll be an illegal screen called on number 3, that is Gildy. And looks like number 21, that is Ava Jones checking in for Tossie. It'll be Venor, brings it up, gives it to Winkle. Winkle over to Venor. Venor drives in, takes a floater, no good. Rebounded by, that'll be Crick. Crick picks up the ball, gives it over to Grant. Grant. Handoff to Crick. Crick to Maloney. Maloney to Crick, or Grant, sorry. Ball stolen by Venord. She goes up with a layup jump shot kind of thing, no good. Rebounded by Winkle. Winkle shot up, no good. Rebounded by Maloney. Maloney taking it all the way down the court with a full head of steam. Kicks it over to Crick, stolen by Venord. Over to Roosevelt. Roosevelt's shot finally goes up and is blocked, and it'll be Rambler ball under their own hoop. In my personal opinion, I thought she stepped out.
I did too, right up from up here, but.
Roosevelt to Grant, Grant to Roosevelt. Or Grant up with the shot, no good, rebounded by Maloney. Maloney tries to force it over to Roosevelt, stolen by Winkle. Winkle to Venord. Venord brings it up across half court. Venord dribbling up top. Posts working their moves. She gives it over to Bennett. Bennett to Winkle. Winkle goes up with the shot, and it is no good. Rebounded by Jones. Jones goes up with the shot and is fouled on the floor. Foul was on the floor, and everybody thought she was shooting. Winkle taking out, gives it to Venord. Venord down to Bennett. Bennett working her post move. Stolen by Maloney. Maloney going down the court, full head of steam again. Ball is almost stolen by Jones. Jones over to Grant. Grant goes up with a 3, and it is no good. And that'll be the quarter. And sorry for saying Jones wrong. It's actually Johns. I'm just now seeing that.
Nope.
But it'll be your McBain Ramblers with 10 and the NMC Comets with 3.
And so far, again, just like the past game I announced, it's low scoring at first. I mean, McBain's still on top here with 10 and NMC Comets with 3. Both sides, it's like a cat fight down there. Just like I said in JV game, but it's like amped up a level here. It's not just cats, it's dogs too. There's players all over the ground. There's players in clumps just battling for the ball. You see hands smacking it everywhere. And eventually, I can't remember how many jump balls there's been, but almost every jump ball, like I think there's 2, every jump ball, they were on the ground.
Yeah.
Just battling it out for it. And McBain has come up victorious so far. Coming into the second quarter, I expect McBain to step it up more, put in more power with it on their offense, especially trying to move the ball quicker as well, trying to get into the paint and possibly make some more three-point shots.
It is snack time, brought to you by Little Town Jerky. Today we have mild flavored. I think they're pretty good. What about you?
I love them too, but personally my favorite, teriyaki. I love that.
Teriyaki is very good.
Pretty simple, but teriyaki's always been good. And you can find this jerky in downtown Falmouth and uptown Reed City, and I believe there's a new place.
Now
Where's that
in
at?
Everett.
Now in Everett. And we come back to the game here. Comets will start the game off in the second quarter.
Venort over to Johns. Johns over, tries to pass, gets stolen by Gildy. Gildy over to Grant. Grant brings it across half court, hands it off to Maloney. Ball is tipped by Tossie over to Van Polen, who checks into the game for the Ramblers. Van Polen checks in, our handoff to Grant. Grant over to Maloney. Maloney to Van Polen. Van Polen drives, tries to force it down low, and it'll be off of the legs of a Comet, and it'll be Rambler ball. One thing the Ramblers should work on is not trying to force passes down low.
I agree with that. You want to make sure you're making smart passes, especially down in the paint. When you got Bennett down there, I believe that's who it is down there, you got to be real careful. She plays heavy defense down there in the paint.
Yeah, Van Polen to Maloney, Maloney to Grant. It'll be out of bounds by Van Polen. Little frustration there shown on her face, and it'll be Comet ball. It'll be Van Nord bringing up, tries to force down to Tossie, no, stolen by Gildy. Gildy to Grant. Grant takes a deep three, no good, rebounded by Johns. It'll be a foul on Roosevelt. That'll be her, I believe, third foul just in the second quarter. Team first of the quarter. Looks like Kate Crick might come check in. It'll be DeRider brings it up. It'll be Johns. A lot of confusion there. Johns tries to tip it back. Tossie fought for the ball. I believe there is a foul. It'll be on number 34. That is Van Polen. That is already the team's second of the quarter, her first. And Kate Crick will be checking in for Roosevelt. It'll be Johns passing it in, gives it to DeRider. DeRider down low to Bennett. Bennett over to Johns. Johns to Van Nord. Van Nord up with a shot, no good. It'll be last touched by the Comets, and it'll be Rambler ball under the Comets basket. It'll be Grant bringing it up across half court for the Ramblers. Over to Crick. Crick to Grant. Grant calling out a play, gives it back to Crick. Crick to Maloney. Maloney down to Gildy. Gildy working her post move, goes up with a shot. It'll be no foul called and recovered by Grant. Try to save to Crick, and the ball is rolling on the floor, and it will be Rambler ball. Rambler student section starting to chirp in a little bit. Grant bringing up the ball. She drives all the way, goes up with the and one. And she will be on the line. I believe the foul will be on number 5, Maria DeRider. Team first of the quarter, her first, I believe. It'll be Johns with the rebound, gives it over to Van Nord. Van Nord over to DeRider. DeRider's ball is thrown out of her hands, and it'll be white ball. It'll be number 11. It'll be Mulaney Bennett. Great, now I have sisters. Checks in for DeRider.
Yeah, watch out for siblings sometimes, especially the name Bennett. They got good ball handling skills.
Yes, they do. Johns over to Tossie. Tossie back to Johns. Johns with the 2 points. Good. It'll be Grant brings it across half court, gives it over to Crick. Crick to Maloney. Maloney pump fakes. Over to Van Nord. Van Nord with the 2, no good. It'll be tipped out of bounds by NMC. And it'll be Rambler ball under their own basket. Grant taking it out. Safety valve to Van Nord, or Van Polen. Van Polen over to Gildy. Gildy to Maloney. Maloney to Grant. Grant to Crick. Crick to Van Polen. Van Polen over to Maloney. Maloney over to Grant. Over to Crick. Crick sets up, does not shoot the ball, gives it over to Maloney. Maloney pump fake drives, kicks out to Grant. Grant to Crick. Crick down to Gildy, and it'll be out of bounds off of Crick, just a little too high, and it'll be Comet ball. It'll be Van Nord bringing it up across half court, gives it over to Johns. Johns down to Ellie, and Ellie Bennett with a 2-point shot. Grant bringing up the ball, brings the score to 7-12. Grant dribbling, calls the play, gives it over to Van Polen. Van Polen to Crick, Crick to Maloney. Maloney shot no good. It'll be out of bounds off of Johns. It'll be Rambler ball under their own basket. Grant to Crick. Crick will be called for a travel. I thought there was a little bit of a shove there, but again, they're on the refs are on the floor.
Yep.
It'll be Van Nord bringing up the ball for the Comets, brings it across half court. Down to Johns. Johns tries to get over to Ellie. Ellie's pass is stolen, covered by Grant. Grant gives it over to Van Polen. Van Polen picks up her dribble, gives it over to Grant. Grant to Crick, Crick. Down low to Maloney. Maloney up top to Grant. It'll be Grant dribbling near side over to Crick Far. Up to Gildy. Gildy to Grant. Grant with the 3, and it'll be no good. Rebounded by Johns. It'll be Johns to Van Nord. Van Nord starting to bring the ball up across half court. Over to Melanie. Melanie down to her sister Ellie. Ellie does not fall. Shot does not fall. It'll be called a jump ball, and I believe it is McBain ball. It'll be Isabel Roosevelt checking into the game for Kate Crick. Timeout will be called by the Comets. It'll be a 30-second timeout.
Well, during this timeout, we'll go right back to where we left off. I mean, between the two teams, Comets are starting to come back here with 7 points and McBain 12. They're starting to close the deficit that McBain once created. They're trying to turn this game right around, and we talk about momentum shifts. Comets have had that. I mean, between the shots not working out for McBain, the ball getting stolen right back, Comets have a little bit more confidence in themselves and a little bit of hope, I want to say. I mean, they're just driving right down the court. I mean, right there, how they got their last 2 points was from an easy layup right there. It was this finesse and ease with it, just laid it right in there.
Yeah, Comets definitely starting to find their momentum a little bit. It'll be Van Polen into Grant. Grant drives to Maloney. Maloney down low to wrong person. It'll be Johns. Johns to Van Nord. Van Nord travel? No travel called. Over to Melanie. Melanie down to Van Nord. Van Nord to Tossie. Tossie shot no good. Rebounded by Roosevelt. Roosevelt gives it over to Grant. It'll be Van Polen over to Grant. Grant over to Maloney, right through her hands, and it'll be Comet ball, their sideline. Whistle blow, Kate Crick checking into the game for Gildy. Or Maloney, sorry. Maloney coming out of the game. Crick gonna be guarding up. It'll be Van Polen guarded by Grant. Van Polen backdoor to Johns, right through her hand. Johns tries to save it, gives it over to Melanie. Melanie goes up with a shot, finally foul called, and it'll be 2 shots on the line. Foul will be called on number 34, Green. That's McBain. That'll be her second, team third of the quarter. Johns gives it over to Melanie. Melanie with a shot, no good. Rebounded by Johns. Johns gives it over to Ellie. Ellie goes up with a shot, no good. Rebounded by Van Nord. Shot goes up, blocked. Recovered by Johns. Johns goes up with a shot and is fouled and will be brought to the free throw line. That foul will be called on number 12. I believe that is Kate Crick. That'll be her first, team fourth of the quarter. First shot up, no good. Second shot up. No good. Rebounded by Roosevelt. Roosevelt over to Maloney. It'll be a foul called on Johns. Unnecessary foul, but that'll bring her to her first foul, team's second of the quarter. Grant brings it up across half court. Gives it over to Van Polen. Van Polen down to Roosevelt. Roosevelt working her moves. Goes up with a shot, no good. Rebounded by Gildy, and there will be a foul called. And Gildy goes to the free throw line.
We go back to a tight game here, Bryce. I mean, 7-12, it's just been sitting here for a good little bit now. We're approaching halftime with 2 minutes and 15 seconds left. Brecken just might be able to separate the lead just a little bit more. And she makes her first, separating the lead. The Ramblers now 13, Comets 7. If the Ramblers can get one more point here, I believe that might spark something.
And the shot is good. It'll be Melanie bringing it out of bounds. Gives it over to Van Noord. Van Noord brings it across half court. Gives it over to, it'll be Melanie far side wing up over to Johns far side. Over to Ellie Bennett. Shot no good, rebounded by Crick. Crick will go down the court, slows down when she gets across half court over to Grant. Grant will set up and gives it over to Van Polen. Van Polen back to Grant. Grant gives it over to Crick. Crick, ball is tipped by Tossie, recovered by Crick. Gives it over to Grant. Grant dribbling near side, gives it over to Crick. Crick over to Grant. Grant over to Van Polen. Van Polen over across the key to Crick. Crick with some misdirection. Ball will be on the ground, recovered by Van Polen. Van Polen to Crick. Crick to Grant. Crick back to, or Grant back to Van Polen. Van Polen over to Roosevelt. Roosevelt out to Grant. Grant with a three, that'll be no good. Rebounded by Van Polen. Van Polen goes up for a shot, no good. Rebounded by Melanie Bennett. Melanie gives it over to the Van Noord. Minute left here, 7-14 is your score. Your McBain Ramblers are winning. Van Noord brings it across half court, gives it over to Melanie. Melanie down to Tossie. Tossie working her moves, goes up with a shot. Travel will be called, and it'll be Rambler ball. It'll be Grant over to Van Polen. Van Polen to Crick. Crick to Grant. Grant misdirection, gives it back to Crick. Crick with a three, and that is no good. Rebounded by, that'll be Tossie, full head of steam going down the court. She will go up with a layup, and that'll be no good. Rebounded by Grant. Grant going down the court. 18 seconds left, gives it over to Crick. Crick gives it to Gildy. Gildy to Van Polen. Van Polen over to Grant. Grant over to Crick. Crick drives, dishes to Maloney. Maloney shot up, no good for, it'll be a 7 for the Comets and a 14 on the scoreboard for your Ramblers. And that'll be the end of the first half.
And thank you. We will see you after halftime. I take that back. Actually, before we end half, we're going to go over some stats here. So for first, we got Brecken Gildy with 2 steals, and she has 2 rebounds and 1 assist. And then we go down to Peyton Grant with 1 block, 1 rebound, and 3 assists. Then we have Caitlin Crick. She has 1 steal, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist. And then Isabel Roosevelt has 1 steal, and then she has 0 blocks. She has 7 rebounds and 0 assists. Shannon Maloney has 3 steals and 3 rebounds. And so far for points, we have Brecken Gildy with 4, Peyton Grant with 5, and Shannon Maloney with 2. And that will make up your 13 I mean 14, I apologize, points for the first half. And we will now see you after halftime.
Welcome back, folks, to the basketball game of the varsity girls. To start off, it'll be Comet ball. Passes into... Shoot, let me open my roster. It'll be Venord. Struggles, jump ball. It'll be Rambler ball. Sorry about that, folks. Did not have my roster ready. Crick passes into Grant. Grant over to Maloney. Far side. Over, down low to Roosevelt. Roosevelt shot up, no good. It'll be off of a Rambler foot, and it'll be NMC ball. It'll be DeRider bringing the ball up. DeRider hands off to Winkle. Winkle goes in for a shot. It'll be no good. Rebounded by Ellie Bennett. Ellie over to DeRider. DeRider dribbles out of bounds, and it'll be Rambler ball. It'll be Grant bringing the ball up. Gives it over to Roosevelt. Roosevelt down low to Grant off of Venord's hand, and it'll be Rambler ball under their own basket. Grant passing it in, gives it down low to Gildy. Gildy goes up with a shot and is fouled by Tossy. It'll be Tossy's, I believe, second foul of the game, first for the quarter for the Comets. First shot up, no good. It'll be Harper Tossy checking into the game for her sister Emerson Tossy. Gildy's second shot up, no good. Rebounded by, it'll be off of Harper, and it'll stay Rambler ball. Rambler ball under their own basket. Grant taking it out. She passes into Gildy. Gildy goes up with a shot, ball stolen by Harper mid-shot. It'll be given over to Venord. Venord bringing up the ball. Gives it over to Bennett. Bennett down to Harper. Harper ball stolen off of Maloney. Saves it off, hits off of DeRider, and somehow must have hit Maloney again. It'll be Comet ball into their own basket. It'll be Winkle passes into Venord. Venord shot blocked by Grant. It'll be a jump ball between, I believe, Kate Crick and Bennett. And it'll stay Comet ball. Winkle bringing it, taking it out of bounds. Throws in to DeRider. DeRider to Venord. Venord brings it up to center court. Now it's near side over to Winkle. Winkle down to Bennett. Bennett goes up with a shot, no good. Rebounded by Maloney, and it'll be a foul over the back. It'll be Rambler ball under NMC basket. It'll be foul on number white 2. That is Harper Tossy. It'll be Grant bringing it up across half court for the Ramblers. Over to Maloney. Maloney up top to Roosevelt. Roosevelt to Crick. Crick down low to Maloney. Maloney goes up with a shot and is fouled. And it'll be 2 shots on the line for Maloney. Foul will be called on number 2. That is Harper Tossy. Her second team, third of the quarter. Maloney's first shot up. And no good. It'll be Johns checking in for Winkle. Maloney's second shot up. And in and out, rebounded by Bennett. Bennett gives it over to Van Noord. Van Noord bringing it up across half court, near side, kicks it over to, it'll be Bennett. Down low over to Harper Tossie. Harper goes up with a shot and is finally called for a foul. I believe that foul will be on number 3, that is Brecken Gildy. That'll be her second team first of the quarter. She will go to the line shooting 2. Her first shot up and good. Second shot up and good. Grant bringing it across half court. Gives it over to Maloney. Maloney up top to Roosevelt. Roosevelt over to Crick. Crick to Gildy. Gildy to Roosevelt. Roosevelt up to Maloney. Maloney over to Grant. Grant over to Crick. Crick to Grant. Grant over to Maloney. Maloney up to Roosevelt. Roosevelt to Crick. Crick over to Gildy. Gildy over to Roosevelt. Roosevelt up to Grant. Grant takes it, sets up, passes off to Maloney. Maloney over to Grant again. It'll be over to Crick, far side. Over to Roosevelt. Roosevelt to Maloney. Maloney down to low to Crick. Crick loses the ball, recovered by Van Noord. It'll be Van Noord coming up across half court, gives it over to Jones. Jones down low to Bennett. Bennett goes up with a shot, foul not called. It'll be rebounded by Harper, then grabbed by Isabel Roosevelt. It'll be a jump ball between those two, and it is Rambler ball. It'll be Crick passing into Grant. Grant brings it across half court and passes over to Roosevelt. Roosevelt over to Crick. Crick to Grant. Grant showing off her skills. Gives it over to Crick. Crick for 3, no good. Rebounded by, it'll be Johns and Maloney. And it'll be NMC ball. It'll be Van Noord. Takes it across half court. Over to Johns. Johns over down to Bennett. Bennett tries to give it down to Harper. Stolen by Maloney. Maloney over to Grant. Grant brings it across half court. It'll be a timeout called by, I believe, the Ramblers. And I believe it'll be a full timeout. Half timeout, sorry.
Well, during this timeout, we'll point back to it. 14-9. 14-9. Yeah, 14-9. I mean, it's coming back. I mean, I hate to say it, but Comets are coming right back up to the Ramblers. I mean, there seemed to be a huge power struggle. Like I pointed out in football when I used to talk with football, it's a driver's seat and a passenger seat right now. Nobody's in either or. They're both having their hands on the wheel. No one's controlling the speed of this thing. It's just back and forth. Nobody's taking full control of it. In the beginning, McBain seemed to have control, but going into the second quarter, it seemed like they were shifting down speed. And now, in the third, it seems like nobody's taking back control of it.
Yes. It'll be Rambler ball, pass into Grant, Grant to Crick. Crick dribbles near side, kicks it over to Grant. Grant sets up for a 3. She won't take it, she drives middle. She goes up for a floater, and it'll be off of White. It'll be Rambler ball. It'll be Grant taking it out. Tries to pass into Roosevelt. It'll be off of Bennett's hands, and it'll be Rambler ball still. Grant taking it out, passes into Gildy. Up top, gives it back to Grant. Grant over to Crick. Crick to middle of Roosevelt. Hands off to Grant. Grant goes in for a shot and is fouled. There'll be a blocking foul. She'll be shooting 2 from the line. and it'll be on number 2. That is Tossie. That is her third. Team's fourth of the quarter. First shot up and good. It'll be Emerson Tossie checking in for Harper Tossie. Sister for sister. It'll be Grant. Second shot no good. Rebounded by Bennett. Bennett over to Johns. Johns over to Venord. Venord over to DeRuyter. DeRuyter down to Bennett. Bennett over to Tossie. Just a little high. Recovered by Venord. Venord takes the dribble in. Gives it to Bennett. Loses it. On the floor with Roosevelt. Jump ball. It'll be Rambler ball. Under Comet basket. It'll be Crick taking it out for the Ramblers. She will pass it into Grant. Grant will walk it up the court, now with a slight jog across half court. Over to Crick. Crick to Maloney, or to Roosevelt, Roosevelt to Maloney. Maloney to Gildy, Gildy to Roosevelt. Roosevelt down to Maloney. Maloney go up with the shot, no good. Rebounded by Gildy. Gildy goes up with the 2, and it is good. Venord bringing it across half court for the Comets. Over to Johns. Johns down low to Bennett. Bennett double teamed. Goes up with the shot. Finally calls, and it is a travel. It'll be Rambler ball under the Rambler ball under the Comet basket. Sorry, folks. It's been a long day.
It is Friday.
Grant bringing it up across half court. Gives it over to Maloney down low, far side. Back up to Grant, far side. To Crick. And she will pass it over to Roosevelt. Roosevelt to Maloney. Maloney over to Gildy. Gildy to Roosevelt. Screen set down to Maloney. Maloney goes up with a shot and is fouled. She will be going up for 2. And I believe that foul will be on number 3, Emerson Tossie. Oh, it'll be on number 21. That is Johns. It'll be her second, team 5th, so Comets better be careful for the rest of this quarter because now the Ramblers are in double bonus.
They are. That could be a huge advantage for them here.
First shot up. And no good. Timeout called by the Comets. It'll be a full timeout.
Well, Bress, what are you thinking so far?
So far, close game, very physical. How about yourself, Gage?
All about the same. I can't say much different from what you said. I mean, the physical part is a big. They're all that entire word's in capital letters. I mean, all this game has been is physical between both sides. I mean, back and forth with steals, back and forth with jump balls. I mean, it's been a crazy game to watch. The physicality is definitely there. Both teams really want this win, and they're battling it out for it. I mean, 17-19 for a little bit there. It was close. I mean, we had 7-13 originally, and then it got 9-13, then McBain started to pull away. I mean, as McBain pulled away, that's a little bit of light shining right in their spark. Now they got a bigger fire than what they had before. They had kindling, now they got some logs burning. Comets, however, I want to say they also got a log on there with some kindling. I think they're starting right back up here. I think through their fouls, yes, they're trying very hard to keep stopping, but you got to make sure you can't cause too many of them. Otherwise, your fire will extinguish.
Yes. Grant and Venord being in all games so far, sure, they are very tired.
No, they got to be. I mean, putting all that strength, and it's a big mental game out there, too. It can get quite tiring. Once your mind goes, your body does, too.
Yes. Maloney up with her second shot, and that will be good. Brings the score 9-18, your McBain Ramblers. It'll be DeRuyter. Brings it across half court, passes to Venord right away. Over to Tossie. Tossie down low to Bennett. Bennett goes up with a shot, no good. Rebounded by Maloney. Maloney pivots out of that situation, gives it over to Grant. Grant over to Crick, far side. Down low to Gildy. Gildy goes up with a shot. They say ball-on-ball contact. It'll be rebounded by Tossie. Tossie gives it over to DeRuyter. DeRuyter gives it across half court over to Venord. Venord goes over to Bennett. Bennett goes up to Tossy. Tossy with a shot, no good. And that'll be out of bounds off of a Rambler, and it'll be Comet ball. Johns passes into Van Noord. Van Noord down low to Tossy, and it'll be a jump ball called between Gildy, Tossy, and Roosevelt, I believe. It'll be Comet ball under their own basket. Johns taking it out for the Comets. Tipped by Crick. Crick tries to save it, bounces out of bounds, and it'll be Comet ball under their own basket again. Johns passes into Van Noord. Van Noord drives in, goes for a floater, and her two is good. Brings the score 11 to 18, minute 40 left in the third. Grant bringing it across half court. Gives it over to Roosevelt. Roosevelt down to up top to Crick. Crick to Grant. Grant down low to Roosevelt. Roosevelt up with two, and it is good. Now score 11-20. Time left is a minute 20 in the third. Van Noord bringing it up across half court. Down to Tossy. His ball stolen by Gildy. Gildy will pass it over to Maloney. Maloney gives it to Grant. Grant brings it across half court, walking. Toss to Crick. Crick to Roosevelt. Roosevelt bounce pass to Grant. Grant to Gildy in the corner. She will take it across the court, gives it over to Maloney, up to Crick. Between Crick's fingers goes to Grant. Grant over to Maloney. Maloney to Roosevelt. Roosevelt to Gildy. Gildy down low to Maloney. Maloney goes up with a two, and it is good. Brings your score 22-11. McBain Ramblers, 35 seconds left on the clock in the third. Van Noord brings it across half court, gives it to Johns. Johns tries to give it down to Tossy, and she will be fouled. I believe that is by Gildy. That'll be her third foul, team's second of the quarter. And it'll be Comet ball under their own basket. Let's see if they can't do anything with it here. Johns over to Bennett. Bennett loses the ball. Gives it. Goes out of bounds. It'll be Rambler ball. Kate Crick will be taking it out for the Ramblers. Gives it to Grant. Grant brings it across half court. She passes over to Maloney. Maloney to Grant. Grant setting up play, gives it back to Maloney, far side logo. Gives it over to Roosevelt. Roosevelt to Crick. Crick, or Gildy. Gildy down low to Maloney. Maloney back up top to Grant. Screen set by Gildy. Grant dribbling around, gives it to Crick. Crick for three, and it is good for the buzzer beater. Brings the score 25-11 at the end of the third quarter. And looking at these NMC players, they just look defeated right now.
That's what you talk about, a big momentum shift right there. With Caitlin Crick's buzzer beater right there, that just sent a message right there. McBain's here to fight, and that's exactly what they're doing here. With Shannon Maloney getting in there, making a couple buckets, furthering the deficit even farther than what it was, and a couple steals from her too, just pushed it farther. I mean, when we go back to great players, Shannon Maloney, amazing for defense, and that's what McBain needs especially. And with Kate's three right there, that just closed her right out for the third quarter and slapped it right in NMC's faces and said, hey, we're here to fight. Hey, hello, fourth quarter, we got 25 now. Let's see what we can do coming up.
Yes.
But what are your thoughts, Bryce?
Very physical by the looks of the NMC players right now. From our view, they look very defeated. Their coach, I believe, Sarah Pluger, trying to fire them up and give them the motivational talk, but I don't know if it's 100% working, Kate.
I agree with you there, but I'm pretty sure she's trying to tell her players, like, listen, 11:25, we got a full quarter left. We can close this out if we put forth 100% effort. We slow down McBain's offense, they have a fighting chance big time. And if they can slip right past their defense, make some good plays, I could see it being a close game again. But McBain, with that big momentum shift, I can just see it now.
Yeah. It'll be Grant Gives it over to Crick. Crick guarded heavy by Winkle. Winkle, or Crick to Roosevelt. Roosevelt to Maloney. Maloney up top to Gildy, over to Roosevelt. Down low to Maloney. Maloney back to Roosevelt. Roosevelt to Crick. Crick with the jumper, and it is no good. It'll be on the floor. People fighting for it. Jump ball between number 4, that is Winkle, and Gildy, and I believe Tossy. It'll be Comet ball, and it'll be Winkle passing into Vinord. Vinord brings it across half court. Dribbles all the way down, gives it to Tossy. Tossy up with a little jumper, and it is no good. Rebounded by Winkle. Winkle passes out to Melanie Bennett. Melanie shot no good. Rebounded by Grant. Grant brings it across half court. Over to Crick. Crick drives all the way. It'll be a blocking foul called on Emerson Tossy.
Right there's a perfect example when you should take a charge. I mean, when you got a player driving in like that, it's always not a bad idea to take a charge. I mean, that's especially something that's been driven in on varsity teams. I mean, going back to Bruce Copeman, being a manager on their team, that's one thing. He said, don't be afraid to take a charge, gentlemen. They do help. They need to happen in the right time. And oftentimes, I mean, I remember Nathan Cucci getting down there. Small little guy, but he is very strong, very good person to have on your team. He took a charge the one night, and it was fantastic to see. I mean, everybody on the bench was hyped, even the other manager I was with, Spencer. It was just, it's a huge momentum change, and it makes the other team also feel very defeated. I mean, once you get these certain things, like a buzzer beater like we just had, you get a charge in with that too, I mean, you're in Golden City right there.
Yes. Carl Dottie called a timeout for the Ramblers.
And shout out to McBain's student section tonight. I mean, they've just been overpowering NMC's student section. I mean, definitely are bigger numbers, but it's just very electric when you got a student section that's so heavily built. I mean, it's like a strong foundation for the team to realize, hey, we got a good group cheering for us.
Yes. It'll be Grant bringing it, taking it out of bounds, gives it over to Gildy. Gildy pass out to Crick. Crick for 3, and it is good! Brings the score 28-11, and 5 minutes and 50 seconds left, or 6 minutes and 50 seconds left in this fourth quarter. Sorry. It'll be Vinord bringing it across half court, passes over to Ellie. Ellie to Tossy for 3, it is no good, and it'll be be rebounded by Vinord, and it'll be Grant keeping her from trying to save it. Vinord guarding, pressure heavy on Grant. Grant bringing it up. Gets it across half court, beats the double team. She will slow it down. Kicks it over to Crick. Crick over to Roosevelt. Roosevelt to Maloney. Maloney looking down low, gives it over to Gildy up top. Over to Roosevelt, far side. Up to Crick up middle. Goes to Grant, near side. Looking down low, over to Shannon. It'll be far side to Crick, farther side. Over to Roosevelt. Roosevelt to Gildy, near side. Gildy looks down low, gives it to Grant, middle. She passes over to Roosevelt, far side, logo. Gives it over to Crick. Crick to Maloney, near side. Over to Gildy. Gildy to Crick, far side. It'll be out of bounds on Crick. It'll be a Comet ball. 5 minutes and 45 seconds left of this fourth quarter. It'll be Winkle throwing it into Vinord. Vinord gives it over to, or brings it across half court, sorry. Gives it over to Melanie Bennett. She goes up with a shot, no good, rebounded by Tossy. Tossy will go up for a shot, and that is off the top of the backboard, no good. And it'll be rebounded by Winkle. Winkle over to Ellie Bennett. Passes out to Tossy. Tossy 0 for 3 on that possession for threes. She will miss her third, and Grant brings it across half court, gives it to Roosevelt. Roosevelt over to Crick. It'll be Crick to Grant, far side, logo. Down to Roosevelt. Roosevelt working her post move, goes up with a shot, and it is good! 2 points up and good, brings the score 30-11, 5 minutes left in the fourth. It'll be Nord bringing it up across half court.
That's what we talk about, great post players. Isabel Roosevelt is one there. She can make those tough plays, and she can get past players, and she can definitely steal the ball in defense. You definitely want to see that from a post player, especially getting big and strong.
Yeah. Fast break, Grant to Maloney, and that's another 2 points. That'll be a timeout called, 30 seconds by NMC. And these logs for McBain are starting to light.
Oh, yeah, that's not just a little campfire no more. It seems like Shannon just brought over a big load of logs, threw it on there. And it seems like Grant came over as well, along with Isabel Roosevelt, and just made it a huge old bonfire for McBain. I mean,
not just logs, some gasoline too. Started it up fast.
Yep, spread all over that. But we do not recommend that. That's pretty dangerous to do, so be careful when you're doing that.
Only trained professionals, please.
Like Bryce Acom, yep.
I wouldn't even consider myself a trained professional.
But, you know.
Maybe firefighters.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, maybe. Even to that extent right there.
Yeah.
But McBain has definitely come. That's when we go back. They've come a long way. But that's when we go back to momentum shifts. They definitely have had a huge one. And right now, we got Wallenges, a JV player, just like Van Polen, just came out on the floor.
Yeah, it'll be Nord over to Melanie. Melanie loses the ball a little bit, recovered, gives it to Tossie. Tossie down low to Ellie. Ellie goes up with a shot, and it is no good. Rebounded by Wallenges. Wallenges over to Grant right before is a travel called, though. But good hustle there, and good job. First play in for Wallenges to get a rebound.
Fantastic. Especially JV. I mean, your heart's got to be racing, but that feeling feels good when you get your first rebound on a senior or a junior.
It'll be Grant with a steal. It'll be Ellie down on the floor still. Grant brings it across half court. Over to Maloney. Maloney back to Grant. Grant to Roosevelt. Roosevelt to Maloney. Maloney to Gildy near corner. Up to Maloney. Maloney over to Grant. Grant to Roosevelt. Roosevelt tries to dish down to Wallenges, just not on the same page, and Wallenges was cutting, and Isabel thought she was staying.
That's all right. You got that communication. That's when you come up.
It'll be a substitute, I believe. It'll be Harper Tossie checking in for Ellie Bennett. She's been in most of the game tonight, too. Nord bringing up the ball across half court over to Mulaney. Mulaney to Harper. Harper tries to give it down low. It'll be Roosevelt trying to steal it off of her leg, and it'll be Comet ball into their own basket. 3 minutes, 33 seconds left in the fourth. It'll be Harper or Emma Tossie with the 2 points. Grant bringing it across half court. Breaks the triple team, dishes over to Gildy. Gildy with the easy 2.
Fantastic communication right there between Breck Gildy and Grant. Grant on the other side of the court. Breck and Gildy just sitting there. Hey, look at me, I'm right here. And gets the easy layup.
Nord brings it over across half court over to Emma Tossie. Emma Tossie with the 2 and 1. It'll be a foul called on Roosevelt. I believe that'll be her, fourth team first of the quarter. Yes, on Isabel Roosevelt, her fourth team first of the quarter.
She's done pretty good here. I mean, at the beginning there, she had, I think 3 fouls.
Yes.
At the start of the game.
3-point shot up, no good. Rebounded by Roosevelt. Roosevelt over to Grant. Grant guarded heavily by Nord. Timeout will be called by Carl Dottie, and it'll be a full timeout.
Going back to what I just said, when you're Isabel Roosevelt and you think smart and you don't foul all that often, even when you have high fouls, that's a smart player right there. She was being very smart, making sure she did not foul out, and thankful she didn't, because she's been a huge help on McBain's offense so far tonight. And during this timeout, with 3 minutes exactly left to go, 34-15, Bryce, what are your thoughts on this, closing out the end of the game here?
I think that NMC has officially been defeated, in my opinion, in my eyes, looking at their body language. And it looks like Van Polen is checking in before the game. So it looks like Carl Dottie also thinks they're kind of defeated a little bit and checking in some of the youngers, just trying to get them some experience.
And that's awesome to see, especially when he gets some of them younger players getting into the game to get some experience. That just creates growth, and when they come up to varsity next year, that's what develops a good player.
Yes.
And right now, we do have the 2 JV players. We have Wallinges and Van Polen on the court.
Yes.
With Brecken Gildy, number 3, Shannon Maloney, 22, and Peyton Grant, 5.
Briella Wallinges throws it into Grant. Grant guarded heavily by Van Noord. Van Noord tripping up on her own feet. Backdoor to Van Polen. Van Polen travel. Right decision, just got to get her feet and her mind in the same spot.
Yep. And that's all part of the experience. It's great to get those, especially in this game right here at the end. It's good to get in there. You get a foul or a travel call, you can go back to it and you can think, all right, well, that was dumb. Now I know what not to do. You can learn from those. That's what we talk about, getting experience. You can learn from your mistakes in a game because you tend to learn from them in a game. I mean, Bryce playing football, I bet you a couple times you've learned from mistakes. I know I have.
Yes,
many
very
times.
much so. A whole lot happened just for the ball to go out of bounds on the Ramblers and Comets to get it back under their own basket. It'll be Winkle over to Melanie. Melanie goes up with a shot, and she will be shooting 2. I believe that foul will be on number 22, Shannon Maloney. Her second team, second of the quarter. First shot up and good. I think that NMC's majority of their points have come from their free throws.
I agree with you there. If I remember correctly, yeah. I mean, their free throws are outstanding. They've made almost every single one each time a player went to the line.
Yes. Melanie's second shot up and good. Grant brings it across half court, guarded heavy by Van Noord. No foul called, ball on the ground. Girls diving everywhere. It was between Briello, Winkle, and Harper Tossie. And it'll be a jump ball. It'll be Rambler ball. It'll be Ellie Bennett checking in for Harper. Grant throwing the ball in, tries to give it over to Wallinges. Tossie able to outsmart that and swat it up back out of bounds. Grant throws the ball into Gildy. Gildy with her 2 points. That'll be her 12th point of the game. Van Noord brings it across half court down to Tossie. Tossie with the 2 is good. Van Polen throws the ball into Grant. Grant bringing the ball up across half court. Ball stolen by Van Noord. Van Noord will be going. Her 2 is blocked by Grant, and it'll be out of bounds off of Grant. But that was a big-time block there by Grant, saying whose house it is tonight. And right now, it is the Ramblers' house, and she just proved that.
And that's when we come back to crosstown rivalry. I mean, right here, McBain and NMC have just had it out for each other. And right now, this just became McBain's gym.
Yes. Winkle throws it into Melanie, and off of Melanie's foot out of bounds, it'll be Rambler ball. It'll be Van Polen throwing the ball in for the Ramblers, gives it over to Grant. Grant double team, chucks it over to Van Polen across the court. Van Polen will have a travel called on her, and it'll be Comet ball. Timeout will be called by the Comets, and they will use a full timeout.
With 1 minute and 46 seconds left here in the game, not the timeout. Wow, look at me go. It is definitely a Friday night. McBain, definitely I'd say has closed this game out. I mean, if you can come back from a 19-36 lead, that'd be something, and I would love to see that miracle happen. And I mean, right now, we got some good music in the gym. My good partner announcer here, Bryce Acom, just put on his glasses, doing a little shimmy down here. With 1936, Ramblers definitely made their point coming here tonight. They came in strong, but a little bit of a struggle between both teams here in the first quarter and second quarter. When the end of the third quarter really came, that's when the huge momentum shift came. And fourth quarter, Ramblers just completely proved on who they are. And they took control of that steering wheel and really honestly put the Comet right in the back seat, buckled them up, and just said, ride along for the ride.
Yes, very fun dancing times. This is how memories are made.
Agreed with that.
It'll be Van Noord bringing the ball up across half court, guarded by Grant. Gives it over to nobody, dribbles herself over to near corner. Down to Tossie. Tossie goes up with a shot, no good. Rebounded by Wall. That is Michaela Blood. Came out of nowhere and just secured that rebound and then just got shoved by number 4. That is Kylie Winkle, I believe. Yes, her first, which is impressive to foul with this much left in the game. And that only be your first. Team second of the quarter, Van Polen bringing it across half court. Gives it to Crick. Crick to Grant. Grant going down. Gives it, tries to dish to Wallenges. Wallenges just not able to grab full control over it. And it'll be Comet ball. It'll be Van Noord. Guess what?
What's that?
She's bringing it across half court.
Oh, she is. I never knew she could do that. That's fantastic.
Over to Winkle. Winkle to Tossie. Tossie looking for Van Noord. She drives it herself. Ball stolen by Grant. Grant recovers the ball. Screen set by Crick, giving some room between Van Noord and Grant. Grant showing off her ball handling skills, making Van Noord trip over herself. Gives it over to Van Polen. Van Polen goes up with a shot and is fouled by Emerson Tossie. That'll be her 4th foul, team 3rd of the quarter with 51.1 seconds left in the quarter. Just like this, things are starting to get a little chippy.
They are. And chippy as they chip, chip, chip. I mean, Bryce Acom over here dancing a little bit at the beginning. That sure set the mood up here. And I'd say right with that foul, that set the mood right down there. I mean, that definitely, it's a positive feeling down here when you have a JV player get fouled and go to the free throw line. It's almost like you're really happy for them to get fouled because it's a JV player.
And Van Polen splits the shots, makes her 2nd. It'll be 37-19, 45 seconds left in the game. Van Noord brings it across half court, guarded by Grant. Dumps it down to Ellie Bennett. Ellie Bennett goes up for a shot, falls during it. It'll be Wallen just with the rebound, knocked out of her hands. It'll be Rambler ball under the Comets basket. Full pressure on the by the Comets. Screen set by Van Polen, gives Grant a little room. Kicks it over to Van Polen. Van Polen picks up her dribble, kicks it to Blood. Blood over to Crick. Crick down to Wallenges. Ball is jump ball between Emerson Tossie and Wallenges. It'll be Comet ball under Rambler basket. And it will be brought up by Van Noord. Van Noord gets a screen set by Winkle. Winkle jumps down to Tossie. No good. Blood with the steal. And Ellie Bennett comes in and gets the jump ball call. And it'll be Rambler ball. It'll be Crick, passes into Grant with Van Noord on her hip. She slows down in the far corner. Brings it back up top. It'll be hit off of, knocked out of Grant's hands by Ellie Bennett and thrown back into bounds by Crick. Crick to Grant, Grant to Van Polen. And that'll be the game, folks. Your McBain Ramblers 37 and the NMC Comets will be at 19. Overall, just a very hard-fought game, and just everything went right for the Ramblers, and just ended up able to win. It'll be Briella Wallen just finishing the game with 1 block, 2 rebounds. Brecken Gildy with 12 points, 3 steals, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. Peyton Grant with a total of 7 points, 1 steal, 4 blocks, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists. Caitlin Crick with 6 points, 1 steal, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Isabel Roosevelt with 4 points, 1 steal, 8 rebounds. Shannon Maloney with 7 points, 4 steals, 5 rebounds. Michaela Van Polen with 1 point, 1 rebound, and Michaela Blood with a rebound. And that'll wrap it up for the game tonight, folks. Glad you tuned in, and we'll see you, I believe, next Monday for a boys game.
It'll be next Monday and next Tuesday, I believe, for the girls.
I believe boys are at I'm not 100% certain where this is at.
Oh, they're at Cadillac. They're at Cadillac. Yep.
But please tune in there, and just have a good night, folks.
Thank you for joining in. Drive safe, everybody, and thank you for tuning in.